The rules for the completion of the ICAO flight plan are contained in the Jeppesen Manual in the Air Traffic Control section, starting on page 435. The form used is shown on page 434H of that section. This lesson will give an outline of the rules governing the completion of the flight plan. We shall start the lesson by asking, what is a flight plan? A flight plan is a prior notification given by a pilot to the interested air traffic control authorities of his intended flight, in terms of the route, speed, and altitude, and any additional information he may wish to give to ensure the safety of the aircraft and passengers. This information must be transmitted in strict adherence to the format printed in the Jeppesen Manual. Instructions for the completion of the flight plan are printed in the Jeppesen Manual. We shall briefly explain them here. It is essential that at the end of each scene you revise that scene by reading carefully the instructions in the Jeppesen Manual. When inserting information in any of the boxes, always start at the first left-hand box. Leave any spare spaces blank. All times are in 4 figures UTC. Elapsed times are also given in 4 figures, in hours and minutes. The shaded area at the top of the form is for use by air traffic and communications services. The data inserted by the pilot starts at item 7, under the heading Aircraft Identification. Item 7 shows the identification of the aircraft. This may be either the radio call sign, the aircraft operating agency, or the airframe number. The data should be inserted starting in the left-hand box and not exceed 7 letters. The flight rules in item 8 are I for IFR and V for VFR. Other options will be explained later in the lesson. The type of flight, whether it be schedule, non-schedule, general aviation, etc., is inserted as a single letter in the next box. Item 9 concerns the number, type, and wake turbulence category of the aircraft included in the flight plan. The number is only inserted in the event that there is more than one aircraft included in the flight. For example, aircraft in formation. The aircraft type is identified by the abbreviation found in ICAO document 8643. Wake turbulence categories are dependent upon the maximum certified takeoff mass of the aircraft. Insert H for heavy, M for medium, and L for light. The specific figures for each category have been covered in previous subjects, but are shown at the bottom of page 435 in the Jeppesen Manual. The equipment specified in item 10 covers both the navigation and communications equipment and the surveillance equipment carried. 1 or more letters are placed before the oblique stroke to indicate the navigation and communication equipment. 1 or 2 letters are also used after the oblique stroke to specify the type of surveillance equipment. These abbreviations are explained on page 436. In item 13, insert the ICAO designator of the departure aerodrome and the estimated off-block time. If no ICAO designator has been assigned to the aerodrome, insert the letters ZZZZ and specify the name in item 18, which we shall cover later. After you have read the instructions for items 7 to 13 on pages 435 and 436, go to the next scene, in which we shall look at item 16. The instructions for the completion of this item are on page 438 of the Jeppesen Manual. Item 16 is self-explanatory. Insert the 4-letter ICAO designator for the destination airfield. The total elapsed time is from takeoff, not off-block time, to the destination in hours and minutes. If there is no ICAO designator for either the destination or alternate aerodromes, write the letters ZZZZ in the box and insert the names in item 18. Item 15 of the flight plan contains all the information pertaining to the cruise portion of the flight. There are many rules associated with this item, and strict adherence is necessary in order to avoid the flight plan from being rejected. You are strongly recommended at the end of this lesson to read thoroughly pages 436 to 438 of the Jeppesen Manual. The first box shows the true airspeed for the first cruising portion of the flight, expressed as knots, kilometers per hour, or as a Mach number. Kilometers per hour is shown as a K followed by 4 figures. Knots is shown by an N followed by 4 figures. And Mach number is an M followed by 3 figures. This is followed by the cruising level for the first or whole portion of the route, expressed either as a flight level or altitude. A flight level is shown as an F followed by 3 figures, and an altitude is shown as an A followed by 3 figures. These figures are in hundreds of feet. We shall next look at the route portion of item 15. We shall start by assuming that our departure airfield is connected to an ATS route. In this case, insert the route designator of the first or whole portion of the route. No other information is required until we come to a change of ATS route or speed or level change. We shall change our airway at a reporting point named Lillan. This is shown on the screen. Had our significant point Lillan not been assigned a name, it could have been indicated by its position in hold degrees as shown, or degrees and minutes, or as a bearing and distance from a navigation aid. Another position that must be shown is where there is a planned change of level or speed. The position may be indicated in any of the ways already mentioned, followed by an oblique stroke and the new speed and level. This must be done even if only one of the factors is changed. Earlier, we specified in item 8 that the flight would be conducted under IFR rules by inserting the letter I. Had we inserted Y in the box, this would have indicated that at some point the flight would change from IFR to VFR, or letter Z, which would show we would change at some point from VFR to IFR. This point is indicated in the route by any of the methods already shown. Had we put the letter Y in item 8, the point at which the flight rules change would be as shown on the screen. Alternately, if it had been Z in item 8, the position would be followed by IFR. If the whole or part of the flight is conducted outside of designated ATS routes, then the off-airway route is indicated by defining positions not more than 30 minutes flying time or 200 nautical miles or 379 kilometers apart. If the route is along an ATS route, but either or both the departure or destination airfields are not connected to it, the letters DCT, meaning direct, are used in item 15. In our example, the departure aerodrome is not along the airway. Therefore, item 15 will read direct to Kilo India Romeo, then along airway Alpha 1 to Kilo November Golf, then along airway Bravo 2, and so on. If both the departure and destination airfields are not connected to an ATS route, then item 15 will have direct to airway, then direct out. It may also be necessary to leave an airway in order to join another by using a non-designated route, as shown on the screen. Before moving on, read carefully all the regulations applicable to Item 15 on pages 436 to 438. Item 18 is used for the inclusion of any other information that is not obvious from the previous items of the flight plan. Significant points such as FIR boundaries are included as elapsed times from takeoff and not estimated times of arrival. Therefore, the time at reporting point Lizard, as shown on the screen, is 50 minutes after departure, and not 0050 UTC. As mentioned previously, if either the departure or destination airfields do not have an ICAO designation, the letters ZZZZ are entered in the appropriate boxes 13 or 16. This is entered in Item 18 as shown. Other abbreviations used in Item 18 are shown on page 439. Finally, we come to Item 19, which is not transmitted with the rest of the flight plan. It is for use only in the event of an emergency, or if the aircraft is deemed to be overdue. The endurance in hours and minutes is total endurance and not safe endurance. Insert the number of persons on board if known, otherwise insert TBN. Under Emergency Radio, cross out with a large X those items which are not carried. The same rules apply to the non-carriage of survival equipment and life jackets. The remainder of Item 19, which involves dinghies, aircraft colours and markings, remarks, and the name of the pilot in command, are self-explanatory. Before handing the completed flight plan to the operations clerk, do not forget to sign it. The flight plan is now completed. Go back through the instructions contained in the Jeppesen manual.